Welcome to the DC Daily Drop, your one-stop shop for today's important news in DC movies, TV, and comics. Here are your hosts, Tom and Zach.
Hello and welcome to the DC Daily Drop. I'm Tom.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're going to have some fun talking about Adam Strange, a character who's been around for a long time, but we haven't seen much of him outside of comics, and he's going to have a big role coming up in Krypton. So we thought we'd just talk about the character and give a little information on him.
Yeah, and longtime listeners of the show know that I once pitched a full-length cinematic film starring said character, Adam Strange, and I was pretty passionate about it. I think he's a pretty cool character. I don't think we're ever actually going to get a movie. I didn't think we'd see him in live action, but since it's been announced that he's going to be on Krypton, I'm pretty pumped about it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Me too.
So, brief little history of Adam Strange. He was created by Julius Schwartz, who was the writer, and Murphy Anderson did the costume. And there's been a couple different artists just because he's been in a bunch of different stuff, but he's the one who came up with the original look. And Schwartz was a science major, and he wanted a character that would be somewhat scientifically accurate and used science and his wits to kind of figure things out.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing about this character. He doesn't, he's not a super powered guy. He's sort of it's very scientific based in nature, even if it's a bit ridiculous, obviously comic book guys, but it's cool. It's sort of almost a realistic science fiction hero.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of like a space Indiana Jones, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he was introduced in issue number 17 of Showcase, which was DC's comic book where they just dumped a bunch of new characters and tried to figure out what would stick. And that was November 1958. So he's been around quite a while, almost 60 years now. He was briefly a member of the Justice League and also Justice League United, which started out as Justice League Canada and didn't really go anywhere, but he was a big part of that. And the character itself is very much influenced by John Carter, the Champion of Mars, Princess of Mars, whatever, that series of books from the early 1900s. So who is this Adam Strange dude? Well, he is yes, he is a normal human archaeologist who one day gets transported to the planet Ron by a Zeta beam. They give him a jetpack and a ray gun, and he basically becomes their superhero, their champion. He doesn't really have any actual powers there other than being able to use a jetpack and a ray gun, but he is stronger there than he is on Earth because there's weaker gravity. So again, that's basically taken straight from John Carter, where he goes to Mars and there's less gravity, and he's the champion because he's strong there.
Yeah, and one thing that's pretty cool, I heard this before. It might have been you who told me this, Zach, but you said he's kind of a reverse Superman.
Yeah.
Instead of, Superman leaving Krypton and coming to Earth to be a hero, Adam Strange leaves Earth to go to Rand to be a hero. And that's pretty cool. It's sort of the opposite of what we know of Superman.
Yeah, and that was me. So thank you.
Yeah. Good job. That was really smart.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons I like this character a lot, is because I think in some ways he's more relatable because he is a normal human, even though it's something crazy that we'll never experience, but he is just kind of a normal human who ends up accidentally going somewhere else and being put in a crazy situation and ends up making the best out of it. So he's kind of relatable in that way. So that Zeta beam that transported him was an invention of the leader of Ron, Sardoff, and Strange falls in love with his daughter, who is Elena.
And Sardath's daughter, not his own
yes,
daughter.
That's language is hard.
I just wanted to clarify so get our pronouns mixed up here.
So yeah, they have like an ongoing love story and all of the different storylines, and the Zeta beam wears off periodically. Sometimes it's stated within a year. Sometimes it says that he'll die if he's on Rand for a year, but sometimes it's just the Zeta beam wearing off. And so he gets teleported back to Earth every now and then. And so a lot of it is him trying to get back to his wife on Ron, and they have a kid eventually and get back to his family there. But it kind of cool too, sets up a cool storyline, at least in my mind, is that when he gets transported back, he knows when the next Zeta beam is going to happen and where it's going to happen. So he schedules his archaeological digs around that and makes sure that he gets transported again. So powers and abilities, not a long list here. He's kind of just a normal human with no powers. Like I said before, he's stronger on Ron because he has because of the weak gravity there. But he is very smart, knows a lot about science, and definitely uses that to his advantage. And his background as an archaeologist, he studies the history of the culture and civilization on Ron and uses that to his advantage as well. And he's also given a jetpack and a ray gun, which come in handy quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the important storylines he's been involved in, the Thanagar War. So Adam Strange is very often associated with the planet Thanagar, which is the home of the Hawk people. And in this storyline, a lot of the Thanagarians are refugees on Ron because of Superboy Prime has moved to the planet. And it's a kind of a crazy storyline, but Superboy Prime moved the planet and it burned a bunch of their planet. And so they end up on Ron, but they think that Ron was responsible. And so basically they're all just mad at each other and they go to war. But Adam Strange, Hawkman, Hawkwoman, and the Kyle Rayner Green Lantern all help stop the war. And there's a few other comic book arcs where there's a kind of a hostility or war between Ron and Thanagar, and Adam Strange is normally involved in that.
Yeah, and this sort of Ran and Thanagar have quite a bit of a history in comics, and they often come up when we're talking about the cosmic side, some of the cosmic stuff, DC related, and sometimes they have a history with Krypton before it went bye-bye and things like that. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool storyline.
Yeah. And another storyline, for a time he joins the group The Rebels, which includes Brainiac 2 and Lobo, and he helps them defeat Starro the Conqueror. I don't think we'll see that on the Krypton TV show, but it would be pretty cool.
Who knows? Yeah, never say never.
Right.
He's also shown up in some animated stuff. Was on a couple episodes of Batman the Brave and the Bold. There's one in particular where Batman and Aquaman visit him, use a Zeta beam to go visit Adam Strange and his family. He's in Young Justice a little bit, and he has a cameo in Justice League: The New Frontier. But other than that, has been not seen a whole bunch and never in live action before.
Yeah. According to the internet, I think he is in the background on a poster in the Injustice 2 video game. So that was a big appearance for him as well.
Did the internet email that to you?
Yes, they did. Actually, they sent a letter in the mail.
Oh, that's good.
From the internet. Anyways, so coming up, like we've mentioned a couple times, he's going to be on the new sci-fi show titled Krypton, which is about the planet Krypton. I, for one, am pretty excited about that. I think this is, if I had to have guessed, this isn't where I thought I would see Adam Strange in live action, but it does make sense, and I think it fits pretty well, and I think they could do a lot of fun stuff with this character.
Well, yeah, it makes sense knowing what we know now about the Krypton show.
Yeah.
So with the time travel and everything like that, I think it makes a lot of sense to introduce Adam Strange here. And he's a cool character. I'm curious what kind of role he has, because I'm assuming that they don't want to make the show too much about him. They want to make it about Krypton, but he's going to be on there. How does he not overshadow? And I think he's a really cool character for that, because he doesn't have powers other than, his tech. So that would be pretty cool. And I hope we get to see quite a bit of him in some of his backstory.
Yeah. And I'm interested how they'll have him transporting and why, and because he doesn't really control the Zeta beams, and so I'm interested to see how they handle that too.
Right. Maybe Ron is close enough to, I don't know, but he'd also have to time travel. So right. I'm guessing he's visiting from Earth and somehow does that. I'm not sure how that works. Is there anything you really want to see from him on the show?
Yeah. Part of the descriptions that we've gotten from different people about Krypton that really excited me was the idea of the advanced tech that they're going to be using. And so I'm hoping that they do something cool with Adam Strange's tech, because it's, even for its time, like from the 50s, getting a jetpack and a ray gun, it's still pretty cool, but I think they could probably update it a little bit and just do some really cool stuff with that technology. And he's got a suit, and sometimes like he has a suit that lets him do interstellar travel, and so they could probably do some cool stuff with his suit as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious if he's going to have a regular role, or if he's just going to pop in and say, hey, you guys. It's important that you live and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm also excited to see how he interacts with, you know, the Hawk people as well, and what their part of the story is too. So I'm sure that they're going to come together or clash at some point.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're working together at the start at least, but you know, will they have had conflict before, or will they come into conflict later? That could be, you know, I don't think they'll get into that on the show just because it's probably expensive enough to create one world, but you could almost maybe see some history from some of these other planets, like Ron.
Yeah, it'd be exciting to see Ron, and maybe Thanagar. I don't know. But yeah, it would be cool to see some other planets on the TV show.
I agree. All right, well, that is all we have for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back again tomorrow.
Thanks for listening, and make sure to check out DC Daily Drop on Twitter, Facebook, and DCDailyDrop.com. Drop by tomorrow for more DC news.